It's been 2 hours since I put the keyboard down, and this is a free book. It was recommended by a self-published author. Might have been Joy Demora. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. I have not been paying attention to the shitstorm that is Kindle. Ultimately, the goal for me right now is itch.io, maybe PayHip. But I know that itch.io allows you to put your book up for pay what you will. And because access is important to me, I want people who do not have a budget for books to be able to get it. Also, it has to go up on February 26th. I say on February 20th. So I am not going to make it to 100 pages of Let's Get Digital tonight, which not good, but I'm not particularly finding it helpful. I followed a lot of authors just in my capacity as like a reader and as a reviewer, and they've talked about things here and there, so it's not like I've studied this before, but just kind of by osmosis I've heard people talk about things, and it's, he says himself, this is the bare minimum, and it really is the bare minimum basics. There are some suggestions that I like, and I will grant that he has a lot of free resources, which I think will be very useful for some people, and even I am looking at some of them like, you probably have something for me, but I don't know if this is what I need. I really thought that I was going to do better with Let's Get Digital, especially after the final rush cram of writing Guns A Go Go, but it has been a lot, and the chronic fatigue is not cooperating. I have had a look at itch.io though. I've looked at their guidelines, I've looked at like the actual upload page. I want the tab open when I try, but I know what I need to do. It's just the formatting that eludes me at the moment. So also the dedications and like copyright info and stuff. I didn't write any of that during the 49 weeks. It completely slipped my mind. So I am going to give myself a reprieve, at least with this one, and say that falls under the remit of this week. It's all going to the next 7 and 7s. I'm gonna have to do that work within the 49 weeks. But for this one I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a break. Once again, my head is spinning, so this is better than the dark, and this way you also get to see what websites I'm talking about. This is the first one that came up after the ads and after the actual place you buy ISBNs, and even though it was updated last year, the information is still quite relevant. I promise that it wasn't the price of the ISBNs that made my head spin, but you know, it wouldn't be out of the question. They did mention a place you could get them cheaper with a membership, and that would be here. However, the shop is like barcode labels, so it's mostly paperbacks, which is not what I want. The ISBNs are more expensive here than what the other website said they would be, which is fine. It's been a year, the prices are not static. Fortunately, unfortunately. I That's kind of terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. And to be clear, when I put them up on itch.io, I am very much intending to be honest that this was for a writing challenge, 7 and 7, 7 books in 49 weeks. That's 7 weeks each to write and edit and publish, and therefore that reflects in the quality. But doing it as pay what you will, I find that's kind of fair anyway, because I feel like most people will not be paying for it, which kind of sucks and is kind of fine. And I will probably talk more about this tomorrow. I do think, as with everything else this year, we stand a very good chance of this actually not being done tomorrow. And to be fair, I did not want to put in my bank details on an open Wi-Fi network or on like data. So I think it's fine. I didn't consider that there would be processing times, but we've not been on like a safe network anyway. So okay, so since this is not like the most pleasant of discussions, I'm going to be talking over the camera roll of the baby. Don't ask why she's not in videos. She passed a few years ago. This is just for the purpose of cute. Getting an ISBN for Guns a Go-Go kind of sits ill with me because sorry, she's so cute. Kind of sits ill with me because it kind of lends the book a legitimacy that I am a little reluctant to give it. But I also, this is kind of supposed to be like the start of um professionally writing again. We do not talk about Dusk, except for all the videos that are talking about Dusk. But we're not ready to like wholly rewrite and republish that yet. Also, I maybe don't watch those videos. I don't know what's going to happen with 7 and 7 is the thing. And except for the other books, it cannot possibly get worse because I know a lot more what I'm doing, and I'm a lot more willing to like fight through the health collapses to get it done. It feels bad in my brain to have a series where like everything but the first one has an ISBN. And I know you're probably thinking that I'm an idiot because I should go with the cost saving option. And I know that. I do, in fact, know that. But okay, no, that's not. There we go. There's the baby. Yeah, I think it would be possibly easier to just not do it. Okay, so common sense has prevailed. Learning to publish in a week Great title, doesn't really work if you're spending like most of that week on holiday. Working through the night is definitely ill-advised. However, I downloaded LibreOffice and I have been like rewriting, just looking at the actual draft and then typing out here, and I've been catching small typos. There was an is, was, tense error. By and large, the writing is done. I'm only allowing myself to make minor tweaks like that. Otherwise, that's not really in the spirit of the challenge, and so why do a challenge then? I have decided as well not to go with ISBNs for any of these. They are really expensive. Even in the bundle of 10, that's really expensive. If I could cover the cost of those 10, I might at some point in the future get ISBNs for them. But for now, no. LibreOffice does have an export as PDF or EPUB option. The resources that I have do not recommend this, and I'm fine with that because I'm not doing it either. I am going to attempt the HTML way, for which I am very glad that I have a week to work out. Yeah, I know some of you are probably going to remember that the coding course that I signed up for last year and then did not follow through on. I'm very glad I have like a full week to focus on that. But for the rest of today, I'm just going to keep typing this out, catching the typos, because I'm still exhausted after travel. So if you were getting worried about the rasher days in which I have not talked about this at all, you are right to worry. I got caught up with the blog again. You know, the average 4 posts a week thing. It's not fun. It's really not fun. YouTube hasn't been too burning outy, but yeah, I'm only just barely keeping on top of things, so I've been too tired to really do a lot of work with this, a lot of the reading, which is not good, I know, but it's all swings and roundabouts. There's just no time for any days off until, you know, the body is like, fuck you, you're taking time off. But it's okay, we're gonna finish it tonight. I did try Beehive because I've seen it get more popular as a newsletter thing, and it looked enough like Substack at first glance that I thought, oh no, what have I signed up to? If you don't know what's going on with Substack, this is not the place to learn. But I tried to sign up for it. It wanted me to put in my phone number. Fine. It would not take my phone number because apparently there's too many numbers. MailerLite is the one that was recommended, so I will get on that. Again, maybe it's just, you know, the world, but it feels like a very different place now than it was in 2020 when this edition was released. I think the sales channels chapter is really interesting and really good, and I highly recommend looking at that. Are you fucking kidding me? Babe on his what? What were you writing? What were you writing? I can't do this. This isn't supposed to be the making stuff up part. So, sorry, it's cold. So, I gave up on Beehive, tried MailerLite. It really wants you to input a surname, and I don't write with a surname. I just write under a mononym. So that's not great. And then it wanted me to put my address, and I remembered why I don't have a newsletter already. I don't want my address out there. So I had to look at PO boxes, and it costs over £40 a month. So we're not doing that. And in the vein of like, I'm not comfortable with like my legal name being out there, I decided, I'm gonna change what email this is under. So I did that. And then I realized, wait a minute, they gave you 30 free days when you signed up, because this is the first time signing up. And now I have it under 2 emails. So if I ever decided to try again, I wouldn't be able to get like the 30 days free, which is, it's annoying, but whatever. A lot of the advice in Gaughran's book and elsewhere is that, you want to direct people to your newsletter, and you want to direct them to your website. Well, I don't have a newsletter, and I don't have a website. Another thing they say is to ask for reviews very politely. I probably will. I'm not comfortable with that though. But, like, I'm not asking for money per se. So I feel like this is the one concession that I have to make, be uncomfortable and ask for reviews. Which means I will need to set up like a StoryGraph author page and a Goodreads author page, and that sounds exhausting. What I am going to put in is a copyright, a no AI disclaimer, some social media links. Oh, I hate this so much. Okay, so this is my copyright page. I think this is good. The copyright disclaimer I got from here. The actual, I looked it up. Wait, where is it? Yeah, book copyright notice here, and then I checked back with my Covenant of Repute by S.L. Prater. Do I need to put the all rights reserved bit in as well? And the asserts the moral right to be identified as the author. Is that not implied with copyright? Okay, so thinking about writing the no AI thing, I almost worked myself up because I just realized I didn't know where the image came from that I used on the cover. 2020, I think we can say that no AI was used at that point, or at least no generative AI was used. Not gonna lie, I kind of feel like I was gonna be sick there for a second, because this is way too late in the game to start changing that around. Which means that this is a really good point at which to say that I got this for my birthday from a beautiful, kind, beloved friend whom I absolutely love. It's really cute. It's really funny because it's got the wee butt. It's a positive honey peach. It says, "I may be a tiny honey peach, but I believe in you. Go do your thing." And I know you're probably never going to watch this, but I love you. So do you see this bit where it says chapter 2? Because I just realised that I stopped putting in chapters after chapter 2. It is past 6 in the morning, which I was not intending to be awake at this time. But it did not occur to me to look into PayPal and Stripe's terms of services. I've already had a look at itch.io's stuff, but I really kind of had a bit more of a deep dive tonight, and that's when I realised, I really needed to do this. I think PayPal would be the better one, because I'm not really understanding what Stripe is on about. To be fair, time-wise, not a great time to be reading this stuff. I don't know what PayPal wants me to do. Maybe a business account? I don't know. It's definitely something to look into in more depth during sensible hours. I'm having a little bit of problem just in my head. And as we know, my head has not been a great place today. In terms of we don't want bigoted or discriminatory content on the site. Fine. It's your site, your rules. Like I said in the writing blog, this guy is a bit of an asshole. He is a bit of a bigot. I don't think... I'm not a Hays Code person, right? I'm not pro Hays Code, but he is a bad guy, and B, he dies at the end. So I don't think it should be a problem. And he's also not being exceedingly violent to anyone he's being a bigot to. So I think I should be fine. But I also don't know. And the thought of this going tits up for me is just not something that I can directly deal with at the moment. Also, smut writers, I feel for you so much. Just my condolences for what you have to deal with. Okay, so the copyright page is done. I did consider doing a don't scrape any of this for AI, but I feel like that's included in all rights reserved. And I don't want to fight with terminology. I don't want to waste more time on this. Besides, as we know, they already scraped everything before they released their fucking systems in the first place, so they never cared about permission. So, but here we have Patreon and Blue Sky. We have a link to the Lee and the Narrow. Keep My Eye on the Chamber Door, which is also Patreon, and then the initial draft to... was it Tales of Gaughran and Others? That's what it's called. Do I know what EPUB 3.0 means? No. Do I know what heading means? Well, do I know what split method means? No. Wait. Page break? Page break, let's do that. No, we'll do heading and then page break, and then reflowable just means that you can change the the size of the font and whatever. I don't know what to do with identifier 771 maybe. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Oh. Wait a minute. Chapter 2. Did that not say chapter 1? No, it does. It says chapter 1. Huh. Fuck, I don't know. So here is where my brain has got stuck. Once you publish, once you put anything out into the world, you no longer have control over it. You no longer have control over how people interpret it, how they will see it, how they will react to it. And so that's why I didn't put no AI scraping on my thing, because part of me just like, well, people will do what they will do. Which isn't really a great reason for not putting it in, I guess. But that's where my brain is stopping. I'm also not getting to move on to like the HTML working of things, because my brain is also stuck on, shit, do I need to do a PayPal business account, or can I just continue using my current PayPal account, whatever the fuck that is? So I don't know at this point if there's really any point in doing anything other than like exploring, seeing how the HTML works. Because obviously I'm not going to get that all typed up in time for the 6th. But it's nice to know at least where I've gotten stuck. I just got rejected for benefits. However, so panic is panicking. So the chronic fatigue is hit. I panicked. Yesterday's rejection really rattled me, and I'm not really in the headspace with all of that to be scrambling around for tax form stuff. So I joined PayHip. At some point we're going to do itch.io, but PayHip is connected. I decided I wasn't happy with my manuscript, so I've gone back in and I am changing some of the links and stuff.
And then you also have the more cutaway style, which can still be a front closure.
Doesn't work. And this is the last day. I thought the 6th would be the last day that I had to do this. And then I had a panic when I actually looked at my schedule and I realised, no, that's the day we start the second 7 and 7. And it hasn't worked. I've tried 6 times to download I downloaded it just fine, but it will not open in Google Play Books. And my friends very kindly have given me their time, and none of the page breaks work. So like the title page, the copyright page, all of it is just like mushed together. The chapters are mushed together. And I think I wouldn't like it if the chapters are all mushed together like that, but I can live with that. But just like the author page and the copyright page and like the rest of that being mushed together, I can't hack it. And it's really unprofessional. The links do work though. So, small mercies, but it's not going to go up tonight. So, I will see you on Monday, because I need some time So I know it's past Monday, but I'm just fiddling around with PayHip right now. I did look at an actual author's storefront just to kind of get a feel for what it should be like. That is Joy DeMora. I have not actually read her books. However, I have followed her on Tumblr for years, so I do actually really need to get on that. The problem is always the same. You could give me this step by step, and I think I might get it, but if you put it together, it just glosses over. My brain just glosses over it all. I don't understand what's happening. There are two programs that are mentioned in Guido Henkel's guide. Um, Two programming editors, rather. I have tried to download both. They have both failed. While it would be best to learn how to do this, I don't know what to do. I don't fucking know what to do. Because, like I said, I'm reading the instructions of like the HTML, and in aggregate, it doesn't make any sense to me, and the programs aren't working, and I don't know why, because I'm tech illiterate, and I can't keep putting this off and off. I don't know what the fuck is happening. So a friend recommended Draft to Digital. And Let's Get Digital also recommended Draft to Digital. And I can't build on a skill set that I don't have. And it is Monday the 21st, and I have to start this third 7 and 7 on Wednesday, this Wednesday. And there isn't a second 7 and 7 because I fucked that up beyond repair. And I can't do that again because there's no time. There's no time. And I have to have something to show for this. I can't keep putting it off. So we're going to talk about Draft to Digital. And I think we're going to talk about Readsy, and I'm going to try both, and then we'll see which one I prefer. And I think maybe that will be interesting or useful or fucking something. But that's all I've got. So you may have noticed that the document was not in Word. And this is why. I don't know what this means. I don't really want to try and force it. Draft to Digital does specifically say that it wants a Word format. I know I haven't talked about formatting and publishing in a while. It is purely brain bad at the moment. A lot of like brain fog, a lot of just starting a paragraph and then not remembering what it was when you get to the end of it. And the legalese is not really helping. I think I'm going to go with Draft to Digital though, because there's an author that I follow, Joy Demora, on Tumblr, and she recently had like an ask about it, and she talked about it in a little bit more depth. And I think for me, what I'm worried about is that they take a little bit of a cut from every sale that you make, and that's fine. I don't really mind that business model. I think for me it's because I'm putting these up as pay what you will that is concerning to me. Because I'm pretty sure they said it's fine, you know, you can put it up for nothing, and in that case we're not going to take anything off you, we're not going to like put you in the red, but it is a lot more used than Readsy, I think. I don't really see anyone talking about Readsy, and the only reason that I knew about it is because one of the workers there approached me about being a reviewer for Readsy. So I think Draft to Digital is what it's going to be. I am a little bit nervous about changing the document from, what is it, ODT to doc or docx. Mostly because like that's the file that I've got and I don't want to ruin it forever. But it's a little, I'm tired of the limbo. You're probably tired of the limbo too. So as soon as I can get the terms and conditions and the privacy policy and all that into my brain, into a cooperative brain, we're going to move on. But yeah, that still might be a wee while away. So my brain is still not quite ready to process legalese, but I've been thinking about it, and the one way to like stop fretting over whether changing the file type from, what is it, OTD to DOC is to just retype it. And that's fine because I've been meaning to work on like not the acknowledgements. There was something I wanted to add though, so that is tonight's work. I'm hoping it doesn't take that long. So in a complete fugue of exhaustion, I did not end up publishing today as I wanted, but whether it be every 50 days or every 51 days is not too much of a problem, and I think this actually works with the 7 and 7 schedule quite well, because I really didn't want to give up the last day to working out publishing. Uh, I think that's a little bit stressful. At the same time, giving up like the first day of 7 and 7 is much easier, in the sense of like, I have an idea, but this is day one of writing it. And if tradition holds, whatever my plans were for 7 and 7, the project I actually work on is the one that just came to me on the day. So having that time to actually have an idea and start working on it is a lot more loose, and therefore gives me a lot more time to work on like getting this finished. I think that works. I of course am looking at itch.io and PayHip, because these are online stores where you can choose your price as pay what you will, and therefore I don't really need Graph to Digital's breakdown of this is how much you make by store, although I do really like that level of detail and transparency. It's probably going to be much more helpful to you guys watching this than it is to me. That being said, again, I'm not going for paperbacks because that's too expensive for me at the moment, but they seem to be a little bit worse on that front. Purely on a like, here's your test print and here's your actual print, and the colours aren't great, and I understand why that's irritating for some people. Again, it's not really something that I think about. I'm a sewist. It is incredibly annoying to be like, there are no great fabric stores in the area, so I have to rely on internet. And of course, every screen is different, so the colours that you're looking at are very probably not going to be what you're getting. There was this gorgeous like Byzantine blue with like reds and purples through it, and then it came and it looked brown. So like, I wouldn't necessarily be happy with my cover being like blushing pink rather than red, but it's not a deal breaker for me. That being said, my one concern is the fact that they can adjust prices. It's so that you don't make negative royalties, and I get that, and I think that's not a bad thing to be doing. On the other hand, because I am going with pay what you will, it is a little bit concerning to me on that front, which is not really something that I'm going to have a handle on until after I publish. But yeah, it's in my head now, and I'm a little bit concerned. I'm pretty sure that I could actually be talking completely out of my ass here. I think Let's Get Digital was published through Draft to Digital. No, or at least it's not credited as such. For me, like, I don't really have the money to be doing this. I would like to get a book from both Draft to Digital and Readsay, because I just want to have like one sample of each. I'm pretty sure I have Draft to Digital ebooks, but I just want to have something that I know was published by these companies, and just not necessarily to read, but just to have like a quick look over them, see if there's any like glaring errors. I know books that have been published through them, haven't necessarily read them. Readsay is, I don't really know what to think of Readsay, and it's only in contention because I don't like monopolies, so even if I were to like attempt paperback, I wouldn't be doing it through Kickstarter. Like I don't. Drafted Digital is not the monopoly Ingram Sparks is. Do not go with Ingram Sparks. But it is like well known enough to be a power player and therefore a little bit trustworthy. Whereas Reedsy is just, to me, it's a complete unknown. I've never really heard anyone talk about publishing through Reedsy. The only reason that I know that you can is because of the website itself. And I don't think that's great. But yeah, I hate to keep pushing it back. I really hate it. But there's really not much that I can do at this point but push it back. So my script for this part of the video is dead because it auto updated even though I didn't want it to. So I don't have my notes. I will say it's really annoying, Drafted Digital, that you have different sections like in different pages. Terms of service, payment splitting terms and conditions, shared universe terms and conditions. Like, I really like that you get a universal link to where you can get your books, be it Amazon or Kobo or whatever, paperback or audio or digital or whatever. That's really good. I also like the release day link. That is in partnership with Books to Read, however, so you also have to go and read those terms and conditions, which I haven't done yet because Jesus Christ, I am tired. That being said, like I said, I do really like that, and it is one of the benefits of going with a company that is as established as Drafted Digital. That being said, I actually prefer the Reedsy website for how it looks and how it's selling itself, because I can actually see what I'd be doing on Reedsy. Like, there we go. There's your planning. I wouldn't be using it for drafting, but you can, and I can see that you can, and that's much better. I will admit though, I'm really uncertain about Reedsy. It is a lot more appealing to go for a subscription service, in the sense of like, I can subscribe, I can format my book, and then I can stop my subscription and they won't be taking a commission out of every sale that I make. But you know, obviously Reedsy owns its IP, so I don't know how that pans out with, I don't really know how that pans out with cancelling the subscription. And I think this is possibly just like chronic fatigue, brain fog, not computing, but that does make me, it feels like a grey area, and that is making me a little bit uneasy. It does say though that they're not going to use your content for training AI, which is something Drafted Digital does not do. Which is, but also like that's really really nice to see. It's in its terms of conditions or terms of use or whatever, so nice to see that in with all the legalese. Okay, I literally don't want you to see anything else on the page. I just want to show that I'm not going insane. If I click here, I have a wee thing, but I can't put in the date. What is happening? What is happening? I've clicked everything. I don't understand what I've done wrong. Why it's not letting me do this. It worked. It worked so good In fact, that I sat down to film this and an email came in saying your tax details have been verified. You're good to go. And we are good to go. We're publishing today. So this is very unlike Readsay in that that was also like a writing platform. You don't actually get to fiddle with things. Uh, it's just like here. The one problem that I had was that it misidentified the different sections. But I clicked on a bit that was help. These aren't my chapters, and one of them was great. One of them was perfect. I do wish it would let me rename some of them, because one of them was just like a thank you for reading bit, and it was just a little bit of like the first two lines, and I just thought, well, you don't need all of that. It's a little bit rambly when it's put together like that, but it's fine. My one problem now actually is that I've put the document in. I thought let me just have a look at all these sections, make sure that it's getting all of them correctly, and I noticed a typo in the document on the very last page. So we're still aiming for publication today, but I'm gonna have to look through the document again. It's great. It doesn't have any of the problems with the other one. It does actually register that there are different pages. Oh, thank God it registers that there are page breaks. That was such a nightmare. Anyway, it looks great. It's just me. Let's fucking shit up now. So that's fine. I can unfuck my shit. That being said, actually, it doesn't take into well. There are different like formats you can use. Some of them are a little bit more fancy, like above chapter one, you can get like a wee flower, which is really nice, but doesn't suit this at all. Um, the one I chose was pretty simple and minimalistic, and it didn't really do like a full kind of line break, if that makes sense. Like on the copyright page here, you see this space. It didn't have that. It just kind of had the same amount of spacing between each one. It's not a problem because its formatting is still pretty decent. Even on the like other works page where it's listing like Zoe and the Narrow and Keep My Eye on the Chamber Door. But yeah, it's a little. That's the one thing for me at the moment, and I do not care. Okay, I want to be clear that we're still going by the rules of 7 and 7. So, like, the second sentence is he batted it back down, annoying slight in the face of his imminent triumph. And I think that's fine for his voice, but a part of me, like a little niggling voice in the back of my head, is like, it should be the annoying slight or his annoying slight. We're not doing that. This is purely typo. We had our 49 days to write this. The one change that I did make, however, is I made the spacing a little bigger. Like I said, I don't actually care about the spacing for this one, and frankly 20 years comma in Tokyo probably isn't gonna need or want that kind of formatting either. I'm just curious to see if this affects it at all. So yeah, we're just typo searching now. Hello from 5:30 in the morning. We are pretty much ready to go. Pressing enter twice does separate out the paragraphs. That's great. So on the contents page, there's like a thank you page of like thank you for reading. I have written this as part of 7 and 7. You can expect more like capital H houses and action to be in other 7 and 7 books. again, thank you for reading, leave a review if you liked it. That entire thing is highlighted in the contents page. And like, that is not professional. However, I don't really mind. A, because it puts the mention of 7-7 up front and centre. And it is like eye-catching enough when everything else is just like chapter this or chapter that, that you're probably going to stop and have a look and think, what the fuck is that? The thing that was really, that I went back and had to like make sure was working alright was the ellipsis, because in my writing for years I've done dot 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 4 dots rather than 3, and listen, I've written this way for years. I'm not going to stop, and it looks fine. It looks fine. It was not fine, to be clear, and I had to edit them all to be fine, but it works. It works. Oh shit. Okay. So the spacing didn't quite work on the thank you page actually, and that's it. Yeah, that's very different. You know what? It's fine. I don't give a shit. It looks fine. It looks fine. We're good. We are good. Shit. Payhip has not shown up. So Payhip has not shown up. So I knew I was going to turn down any place that was like, we will not sell your book for free, because I don't think it's fair like for someone to be scrolling on Amazon and pay for it and then later find out, oh, it's available for free on all these other platforms. So it's not on Amazon, it's not on Gardeners. It did not actually cross my mind that some library services, I was not thinking about library services. Overdrive, Odilo, and Palace Marketplace are fine. You know, they will accept, you know, the cost of $0. BorrowBox will not. BorrowBox is one of several that will not. I kind of feel like shit though saying I'm going to take money from libraries. BorrowBox is one of the ones that I use, so it's one of my library systems. And for that reason, I'm going to be a piece of shit and just say, yeah, you can charge. You can charge for those ones. The ones that will take it for free can take it for free, but because I was thinking more on an individualized level, like, oh, if a person can't afford a book, you can just take mine for free. I wasn't thinking of like institutions. This is what we're doing. I might feel bad enough about this to later on be like, you can't have it. You can't have it because you're making me accept royalties. That feels dumb. I'm saying it loud and it sounds dumb. Yeah. Time zones. They're saying that I can't put it up on the 18th because Pre-orders cannot be free. It's the fucking 18th year. I think there isn't even like a back. Is there a back button? Yeah, okay, we'll go back to previews. Oh god, what? I don't even know how long this is going to take. Like, what is the time difference? I don't even, what time zone are you even in? Okay, killing time till it hits 6 a.m. Still don't. I did see it in the terms and conditions page where they're located. I don't want to read through all of that again. Although, funnily enough, I'm on draft to digital because I thought I said good things about it in one of my clips. It was not 24 hours before the entire thing was wiped from my brain. I'm still really bad. But yeah, trying to kill time before 6 a.m. And can I use a converted EPUB that draft to digital made anywhere else? Yes, you're allowed to use draft to digital converted EPUB anywhere. So I take that as PayHip is fine. But while we're still trying to kill time, I also want to shout out Reedsy again, not because I know what publishing with them is like, because they have other resources that are maybe going to be useful to you, like lists of publishers, and I mean you can go to like book tour companies, like I read book tours, but they also have like a reviewer section of their own, which they did try to recruit me to at one point. I did not go, so I can't tell you what it's like, but you know, resources. It worked. It worked. It has been successfully submitted and is currently being published. Except PayHip, because I can't get the fucking thing to work. But it's fine. It's fine. Goddamn. It's out in the world. And I'm going to go to sleep. And maybe I'm going to buy everyone takeout tonight. I don't know. Mum might have be set on what she's done for dinner, but yeah. No, that's. I will say they do print, but if you want an audiobook made, they partner with Findaway Voices, and Findaway Voices was recently embroiled in like an AI controversy. So like, I would not recommend that you do that, but you know, you have your information, do with it what you will. But it's done. It's done. And it's real. And oh my god, other people are gonna read it. Fuck me. Thank you for watching.